Hi YouTube, Watchify here with another video. Today I have with me the recently released Seiko Solar Prospex Diver model SNE583, which some are calling the Baby Hulk due to its green dial and bezel insert. This compact ISO-rated solar diver first came out in mid-2021 with several colorways. There was the basic black dial and insert on a black silicone strap, model SNE573, the Patty version SNE575 on Bracelet, the dark blue dial with faded blue insert SNE569, and the dark brown dial with lighter brown insert SNE571. I remember being interested in those watches due to the compact size. However, there wasn't a colorway that I was really excited about. Seiko has since introduced this green dialed version along with the all blue version SNE585 and the gold tone case SNE586. The green version appealed to me since it's a more traditional green color dial, unlike my Orient Komatsu, which is a more of a dark teal color dial. This SNE583's color is more along the lines of the Sumo Hulk SPB 103, which I had always liked. I know this is another Seiko design that will be considered an homage to a more famous and expensive watch, in this case the Rolex Submariner. However, I think Seiko gets a pass when they do this since they have such a long watchmaking history and have so many original designs of their own. Starting off with the dimensions, the case size here is 38.5 millimeters, thickness is 10.6 millimeters, which is slim for a 200 meter diver. The lug to lug distance is 46.5 millimeters and the lug width is 20 millimeters. I think it's the lug design that gives the watch a larger appearance on wrist. The watch weighs 129 grams, size for my 6 3/4 inch wrist. The compact size is going to appeal to a lot of people as it's below 40 millimeters, and you might think that 38.5 millimeters could mean that the watch is too small for some wrists, but I can say that it doesn't wear that small due to the shape of the lugs and the lug-to-lug distance. The case is mostly brushed with some polished accents seen on the chamfer running along both sides of the case. You'll also find the bottom of the case is polished. You get drilled lug holes with this case, and there is an unsigned screw down crown at 3 o'clock surrounded by crown guards. I feel the crown is appropriately sized for this watch, and you can see that it has a dome on it. There's an all polished low profile screw down case back with the familiar Seiko Wave logo on it. This watch comes with a flat sapphire crystal with unfortunately no anti-reflective coating on it. I like the style of the bezel Seiko chose to use here. It's a prominent bezel with a wide coin edge that has polished accents. The rotation is smooth with a satisfying sound, which is in line with what you find with other Prospex models. The insert is a matching green in color and has grooves in it, which is a design that I like. I'm pretty sure the insert is aluminum, but not 100% sure. Markers on the insert are filled in white, and the 12 o'clock marker has an embedded recessed lume pip. The dial has a sunburst effect to it. All indices other than 3, 6, 9, and 12 are round with a triangle at 12 and rectangles elsewhere. The unframed date window is located at 3 o'clock, and there's a white quick set date wheel. In terms of dial wording, you get the Seiko and Prospex logo along with Solar and Diver's 200 meter wording printed in white. Along the bottom of the dial, in very small text, it mentions the Japan movement. Surrounding the dial is a matching colored chapter ring with white markers. What's notable about the dial is that if you look closely, you can see a vertical and horizontal line, which makes the dial look like it's cut into 4 equal quarter sections. I'm assuming that has something to do with the solar panel underneath, but it's something I haven't noticed on any of my other solar movement dials. The hands have a brushed finish and are filled with lume. You can see that they're partly skeletonized on the part closest to the dial center. The seconds hand has a lume-filled counterbalance, and at least with my watch, is not hitting the minute marks like I was hoping it would. The dial and hands combo is pretty simple, which is good as I think the watch is trying to come off as more tool-like. Here's the lume shot showing the green Lumibrite in action on the dial and hands. Inside the watch is the Seiko caliber V147 solar movement that can run for 10 months from a full charge. Of course, if you wear the watch regularly, it'll never lose power. This movement's accuracy rating is plus or minus 15 seconds a month, which is standard for a mainstream quartz movement. I think the fact that this watch has a quartz solar movement is what allows the thickness to be so low. Most of my divers are automatic, but I don't mind solar divers as long as they're done well. You get the benefit of the watch always being ready to grab and go, and you don't have to worry about having to wind it. In the quality control department, this watch unfortunately suffers from some of the issues Seiko is known for nowadays. The 12 o'clock marker on the bezel does not line up with the 12 o'clock indice on the dial. I get that when you're talking about alignment, there are several parts involved and all need to be in sync. There's the dial itself, the chapter ring, and the bezel insert. Maybe getting this perfect is beyond Seiko's manufacturing capabilities. I'm not really sure. I imagine that these watches are made in a highly automated factory, so it's not like a person is placing the bezel insert on the watch. If they were, it would be easy to make sure the alignment is good on every watch. Now, I'm a DIYer and usually like to try to improve QC issues if they're not major. In this case, it could have been pretty easy to pop off the bezel, carefully remove the insert, and reapply it so it lines up better. But the problem on this watch and some others that I own is that it's incredibly hard to remove the bezel. On my SKX and 5KX models, as well as some of my Samurai and Turtles, the bezel pops off relatively easy with a hand tool. On this one, I really couldn't find a way, and if I had persisted, I'm sure I would have damaged the case. So if Seiko is going to continue to put out watches with alignment issues, I wish they would design their watches so it's easier to remove the bezel. Anyway, I like the watch and I'm going to live with it, but I know this is a big issue for some and it causes them to stay away from buying Seiko divers unless they can see the watch in person before purchasing. Finally, the bracelet is surprisingly good on this watch. It tapers from 19.7mm to 17.8mm where it meets the clasp. It's done in an oyster style with the faux centered link being raised and having polished accents. Other than that section and the sides of the links have a brushed finish. They're held together with pins and collars, which I'm not a fan of. In fact, one of the collars got deformed from the removal tool I was using to resize the bracelet. There also wasn't a way to reinsert the collar without it falling out when I was reattaching the links. On some bracelets, there's a place to insert the collar where the hole is larger on one side than the other, so it keeps the collar in place while you're reinserting the pin. I didn't find that with these links, so reattaching the links was a chore. This bracelet has hollow end links that actually attach to the case really well. There's a diver's extension, and the clasp is the stamped metal fold-over type with double push-button release and a locking mechanism. The Seiko logo is stamped into the clasp, and it's good to see 4 micro-adjustment holes on this bracelet. I said the bracelet is surprisingly good because in terms of how it wears, it's very comfortable on wrist. The clasp feels secure, and I think overall the bracelet accents the watch well. I get it that at this price point, Seiko isn't going to provide both solid end links and a milled clasp no matter how much we would want them to, but having said that, I think they should have at least included solid end links like the Turtle and Samurai OEM bracelets have. In terms of price, the retail price for this watch is $495. I got mine from a seller on eBay for $394, so it's possible to find one for sale under $400. Even at that price, I think it's a bit overpriced. Yes, you get a sapphire crystal and some nice case finishing, but I think this watch would have been better priced at closer to $300. There are a lot of other options out there for solar analog 200-meter divers, many of which cost less than this watch. But I think the main thing this watch has going for it is its sub 40mm case size, and I think that is the main factor in this line's current popularity. In summary, what this watch gets right is the size and case design, the relatively slim case. Finishing is pretty good. I like the choice of bezel and how its rotation is smooth. The dial color and bezel insert design are also things I like about this watch. There's just something about a green dial diver that appeals to a lot of folks. What was lacking with this watch was the quality control issues with the bezel and seconds hand alignment. The bracelet links actually make a squeaking sound when being handled, and it's generally rattly. I know the retail price will also be an issue for some, and I've heard complaints that the indices should have been made a little bigger. One other nitpick, I would have preferred that they not printed the word solar on the dial and just left that mention on the case back. This model line has potential though, and could be the go-to affordable sub 40mm 200m Prospex diver for those more interested in a solar movement. Hopefully Seiko continues to develop new variants and colorways. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful or interesting, and if you did, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. I wanted to thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you in another video.